Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Little Marketing Podcast, where we provide you, Australian small business owners, with smart and tangible marketing advice for your small business. So in working with Aussie businesses for over 17 years, the one thing that is the frustration that we see the most is small businesses who have started their marketing but have become frustrated in the fact that they're not effective in their marketing, or it's gone stagnant, or small businesses who haven't started their marketing and they just don't know where to begin. So in today's episode, I want to give you a 5-step approach so that if you find yourself in one of those buckets, so a business that's already doing their marketing but finding it's not effective, or it's stagnant, or a small business owner that doesn't know where to start, I'm going to take you through a 5-step approach to help you to reignite and get that marketing started and give it the best chance of being effective so that you can make some money for your small business and your life. So why does this happen so often? Why do people get frustrated in the fact that they're not effective or they just don't know where to start? Well, it's because they are experts in what they do. So whether they're a carpenter, or they sell children's clothing, or they're a photographer, they're a technical expert in that, but they're not a marketing expert and not sure how to drive their business forward because they've got that technical expertise, but not the running of a business expertise. And that's why it's a really big frustration, one of the biggest obstacles for small business owners. So the first step in that approach to help you to overcome that is to think about, given the fact that you are a technical expert, why did you start your business in the first place? So let's use a carpenter as an example. Maybe you're working for someone else, you're really good in your skill, and you thought, you know what, I hate my boss, I hate my job, I hate the pay that I'm getting paid, I want to make more money, I want to have some more freedom, that's a good joke, and we'll talk about that in a second. I want more freedom, I want more money, and I want to just have a better life. So you think, you know what, I'm going to be able to do this better on my own. So you go, you start a business, you buy all the tools, you buy a truck, and then you wonder where the first client or customer is coming from. You get the first customer, and then you think, oh, how am I going to get this customer? I'm just going to give it a really cheap price, and so that I get my first customer, I'm not going to probably not make any money on the first job, and so then you start working, and then you're working your ass off, you're not making money, and you're thinking, fuck, I started this business for some more freedom and to make money, but it's not happening. And that scenario right there is very, very common. So think about why you started the business. That's the first step. And the reason I say that is, what outcome do you want your business to achieve for you? Yes, it's a business, but the outcome of the business is for you and your life and your family. So what outcome do you want? Is it to make more money? Well, how do you go about doing that? Is it to sell the business in 5 years? Is it to get more employees? Is it to keep it forever and sell it one day? Is it to hand over to my kids? What's the ultimate goal of why you started the business in the first place? What are you trying to achieve in the short and medium and long term? And what's the ultimate goal in your business? Now, the reason I want you to think about that is that approach and the goals of what you want to achieve often have an impact in your marketing approach. So let's say, for example, you say, I want to sell the business in 3 years' time. Great, fantastic, do that. Well, if you're not driving revenue and driving profit, your business has no value. So how are you going to give it more value? You need to make profit. How do you make more profit? You drive more customers. How do you get more customers? People know about you. How do people know about you? You're doing something different. How are you doing something different? You figured out what that process is. So there is a domino effect to knowing what your outcome is, and that will impact on what your marketing approach should be. It's all interrelated. So that's the first thing that I want you to think about. Now, in that ramble that I just gave about, how you make your business more valuable, the second step I want you to think about is your positioning and why people should choose you. So if you haven't listened to any of our podcasts or shorts or anything, go back, have a listen, have a read of our book, whatever it might be. positioning is so important. But I'm going to give you a quick recap on what that is. So positioning is all about positioning your business and your brand in the minds of your customers that is different to the competition, or that eliminates the competition, or where there's the least amount of competition. So you want to find that positioning in the mind of your customers that covers off some of those elements of the competition. And the best way to do that is to go through a bit of a process to figure that out. So there's a few ways to position yourself differently to the competition. So it could be on the specific service or product offering that you're providing. Like, is it different? Do you have a focus or a specialty in that offering or in that product that you're providing? Maybe you focus on a particular audience. So let's pretend you're, again, let's go back to the carpenter. Let's pretend you're a carpenter. Your focus may be on working with granny flat builders as an example. So that's a real focus. So that's your target audience, granny flat builders. It might be that your focus, and it could be a combination of all of these, focus could be on a particular area or location. So if you're in Adelaide Hills, for example, you want to focus in on that area. So if you can communicate those kind of target audience offering and where you do it within your key messaging in your marketing, it allows you to differentiate. So if you covered off your expertise, so granny flat, you're not just a generic carpenter, so that's a focus there. You focus on the location, so you eliminated the rest of Adelaide, but focused on Adelaide Hills. And the third was that you focus on actual granny flats only, so granny flat builders, Adelaide Hills, and granny flat specifically as an offering. So you really focused in on that. You eliminated all the competition, versus if you were generic, you would compete with every builder, every carpenter, every location in Adelaide, every type of property, but you've really narrowed a focus and become a specialist in that. And then for the fourth is communicating that specialty to say that you're an expert in those three things, in the location, in the audience, and in the offering. So that's what we call kind of positioning. So positioning your business and your brand in the minds of your customers via some of those categories there that is different or eliminates competition. So that's the second step. So you need to really take the time to figure out what that positioning is. And if I think how we work with all of our small business clients, that positioning piece is the most important piece in the whole marketing journey. Because then if you don't have a positioning, then you're competing with every other location, every other type of property, you're competing with everybody versus having a real focus and becoming an expert in what you do. So that's a key bit in terms of the first step that we work with our clients, and really defining that. So I want you to go through that process. We've done, as I mentioned, we've written a book about it. We've got heaps of podcasts that talk about what that process looks like. So that's the second step, and that's so important. So once you have defined that positioning, now we need to never waver from that communication. It's so easy that after a month or 2 months, when things are a bit quiet, you want to waver and start to go, oh, we do carpentry for everybody, and we do it everywhere in Adelaide, and we do it for every type of builder. And then before you know it, you're competing with all of these people versus competing with just this amount of people. You're competing with this amount of people, and then you've got even less chance of cutting through and people finding you and choosing you. So positioning is so important. So don't waver. Give it time and just communicate the hell out of it, which is the most important thing. So never waver and communicate the hell out of it, which is step 4. So it's about doing it consistently. So consistently using that same positioning in your messaging and never wavering from that, and doing it over and over again, and then doing it consistently from a frequency perspective. So as often as possible. And this is one of the other obstacles that we talk about in terms of time. So time, money, energy, and skills, 4 key obstacles when it comes to marketing, but it's about having some structure in your time, in your business, so that you make the time to market consistently from a message perspective, and most importantly, from a frequency perspective. So you need to be doing it frequently so that people know what is that you do and why you're different. So I did a short the other day about the fact that if you did EDMs once a month, so emails out to your database once a month, if you did SMSs out to your database once a month, if you did a Google AdWords campaign on a regular basis, if you wrote some search engine articles, if you did the multitude of activities, what is the total number of touch points that you would get over a year? And remember, if you look at every successful business, you read any book, listen to any podcast, whatever it might be, businesses are not built overnight. They're built on the back of consistency, of good habits, and doing it regularly and never wavering from it. And it's consistent, and it's pushing through, and it's plowing through. It's ignoring the noise. It's not listening to all the doom and gloom. I've got a couple of great examples to explain the theory. So we had a client who we've still got now. I remember it was just before COVID, and we'd done some marketing, and he'd received one of our pieces of marketing. And I remember I was sitting in Melbourne. I'd had a few glasses of wine. I was sitting there having lunch. My phone rang. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I was thinking, do I want to pick the phone up or not? So I picked the phone up. I answered it. Didn't know who it was. I answered it, and it was this potential client who we had done some marketing to. And he said, "Look, I want to. I got your marketing. I want to start doing some marketing." As I mentioned, it was like the weekend before first lockdown happened in 2020. So his mindset back then was, I don't care what the media is saying. I don't care what our politicians are saying. I want my business to work, and I'm going to plow through regardless of what is happening. So he started marketing with us in March 2020. It was all about top of mind communication. So he's a painter. He was limited in terms of the type of painting that he could do, but he was restricted, but it didn't stop him. And we marketed, and at the time, every other painting company stopped marketing. We did the absolute opposite. We were proactive in his marketing, and he drove it. It was his mindset, and we helped him to consult and execute on that activity and plow through. And so because he was top of mind during COVID in 2021, it allowed him to stay top of mind through that period. And so he still has clients who he worked with back in 20 and 2021. There was another example around the same time, a guy that was importing stuff in from overseas, huge logistical nightmare at the time, had no stock. I said to him, don't stop marketing. When inquiries come through, tell them that you and all your competitors are in the same boat, and then when stock comes in, you will be able to get it out to them. So he was able to capture their email addresses and add them to a database, and again, stay top of mind. If he'd stopped marketing back then, none of that would have happened. Again, he's still got clients from 4 or 5 years ago based on the activity that he did now. So just a quick break. There's obviously lots of regular listeners to our podcast and watching our videos. Now, if you feel like you want to get in touch with Little Marketing and have a bit of a chat with me, what I'm offering is that you send an email to askask@littlemarketing.com.au. That's askask@littlemarketing.com.au, so that you'd like a 15-minute chat with me. I'll try and give you as much info I can in that 15-minute chat based on your particular circumstances to try to help you and kickstart your marketing and maybe any frustrations that you have with your marketing. Sometimes a quick 10 or 15-minute chat is all you need to push your business ahead. I'm open to that, happy to do that. 15 minutes is nothing for me. Happy to always be helping small business owners. So let's jump back in. So it's about communicating consistently in your message and communicating consistently from a frequency perspective. And the fifth key area is to communicate it more than your competition. So if you communicate and get touch points of 10,000 in a year and your competitors do 2,000 a year, but it's very ad hoc, common sense tells us, and you don't need a marketing expert to tell you this, that you have a higher chance of being remembered by your potential customers and clients, and they may not need you. This is my favorite line. They may not need you today, tomorrow, or next week, but when the time comes, if you have been top of mind with a variety of marketing activities and touch points, then you have a better chance of them choosing you when the time comes for them to pull the trigger and buy your product or acquire your service. So you can often feel stuck as a small business owner. Hopefully those 5 steps, so thinking about what your goals are. Secondly, what is your positioning and what are you communicating as differently to the competition. Thirdly, never wavering from that. 4, communicating consistently from a message perspective and from a frequency perspective. And 5, make sure that you are doing it more than your competition. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a kickstart and a bit of a rejuvenation to your business and your marketing. We're at the beginning of March now. Can you believe 2 months already gone? It's never too late to start your marketing. It's never too late to rejuvenate your business and your marketing. 2025, we've got so many tools out there as business owners to help you to market your business. So really no excuse for you to not be getting out there, but follow that approach. Make sure there's no wastage. Make sure you're communicating a positioning that is different to the competition so that you're not just wasting time, money, energy, and skills on a message that is like everybody else. So I hope you got lots out of today. Again, taking me up on the offer of that 15-minute chat. Again, send an email to askask@littlemarketing.com.au. That's askask@littlemarketing.com.au. Request a 15-minute chat with me, Michael Kava. I'm happy to then have a chat with you. Of course, if you loved this episode, we'd love a rating and review. That helps us to build our audience, help small businesses across the country and across the globe. And we'll see you back here next week. Again, as always, plenty of shorts out there on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So make sure you get onto those and get plenty out of those as well. Thanks, guys.
Please note that all the information provided on this podcast is general in nature and is not intended to be specific advice to your individual situation. Please be sure to engage a professional for a customized approach to your business and personal circumstances.